Comic book gurus.
Could it be that in a tribal and divisive world, the one thing that can bring us all together is a guy we're told is the Penguin, but acts a hell of a lot like Tony Soprano, with an umbrella-less umbilical cord attached directly to Matt Reeves' The Batman? Max's The Penguin has been receiving massive praise from both critics and fans alike for its real-world brutality. And just to get this out of the way, I friggin' love it. However, believe it or not, one of the people on your screen right now is not a fan, and she has some definite opinions about the issue. But first, I'm Steve Morrison from the President Steve Show. These are the comic book gurus, Craig Legans and Steph. Rockstar Rob was invited to dance Swan Lake with the Bolshoi Ballet, so he will not be with us today. So first off, Craig, this is an incredible series. I think you and I are on the same page with this. I did mention Matt Reeves and the Batman's, Colin Farrell's Penguin as being grittier and more realistic in the film, but the series is off the charts. How did we get here? What are we seeing? And is there a precedent for what we are seeing with the Penguin?
I believe there is, Steve. The Penguin takes place 1 week after the end of Matt Reeves' The Batman, and we see Gotham in disarray, still cleaning up after the massive flood that destroyed Gotham Square Garden and the surrounding neighborhoods. And we see the Penguin, Oz Cobb, trying to fill that vacuum of who's going to be the new crime lord of Gotham. And we're seeing Gotham City as we've never seen it before. All the surrounding neighborhoods, the bad and the good, the difference in the class systems, and we're seeing this man, Oz Cobb, trying to make his way through, lying, cheating, stealing, corrupting, mentoring, as this goes by. And this is unlike any other Penguin we've ever seen. There is no umbrella, there's no top hat, there's no monocle. This is not your grandfather's Penguin. He is so convincing. His own kids didn't recognize him on the set of the Batman. And I'm watching the Penguin series with my girlfriend, and she said, I want to see that guy in another role. And I said, Colin Farrell? She says, no, the guy playing the Penguin. I want to see him in another role, like in a comedy or something else. There's no inkling of, no trace of Colin Farrell in this anywhere. And it's not just the makeup, it's the acting. You feel for this person who loves his mom, and how also he sees someone that also is deficient, like his new chauffeur valet Victor, and he sees himself in that character. And watching him trying to make his way and trying to make a better life for himself, while knowing he's so far deep in this, like he's got to look up to reach down. And it's absolutely incredible. He and Kristen Milioti should get Emmys right now.
Some pictures from the source material, and there is a source material. It is The Long Halloween, correct, Craig?
That is correct. Less people think that, they're just making up these characters to fill out the Batman mythos. No, all the characters, 98% of the characters you see in the series of Penguin came from the Batman epic series, The Long Halloween, which came out in 1996. It's long reported that this might be the most acclaimed Batman story of all time. It's the Godfather version of the Batman.
So I remember Craig reading it and thinking it was amazing when it came out. I forgot everything, that had to do with it. That's why I didn't even draw the correlation when the Batman came out. But even at that time, correct me if I'm wrong, it was like, it was a head spinner for the fan base.
It won the Eisner Award for best fiction novel, and it's still regarded as one of the best Batman stories. Steve, it's the Batman story that the movies have borrowed from the most. From the scene in The Dark Knight where you see Harvey Dent, Commissioner Gordon, and Batman on the roof, that was from The Long Halloween. The story that Carmine Falcone told in The Batman about him being shot and little Bruce Wayne watching his father operate on him, that was from The Long Halloween. These characters that we're seeing, Sofia Falcone, Sal Maroni, that we saw in The Dark Knight, played by Eric Roberts, and Sal Maroni in The Penguin that we see played by the great Clancy Brown, those were characters that were created from the Long Halloween. So this crime boss saga, Godfather, like between the warring families of the Falcones and the Maronis, with the Penguin caught in the middle. All that's from the Long Halloween. So
So,
its source material.
so you're saying that Christopher Nolan owes a lot. That trilogy owes a lot to the Long Halloween.
Exactly. Even in The Dark Knight Rising, the scene where Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle are dancing, and she said, "Let's run away together." That was from the Long Halloween. So yeah, the tributes to this story, the roots run deep, and because the source material from the Long Halloween is so rich, but the story in itself was such a crime-driven, Godfather-like thing, weaving throughout with the Batman being in the middle. But what makes the Penguin so great is there is no Batman. They're all operating in the shadow of the Batman. And the Gotham City is the character itself. And you're so engrossed with watching the Penguin just weasel his way through so many near death situations while trying himself to be the next crime kingpin of Gotham is absolutely astounding.
And so obviously the show is a hit. Tech Advisor, not familiar with the magazine, but they say, or the online magazine, they say the Penguin is the best superhero TV series in nearly a decade. We go on over to this journal, which is, I don't know exactly what it is, but pop culture. All right. It is becoming impossible to look away from the Penguin. And they go on and on, of course, about the character of Sophia Kristen Miliades. Is that how you pronounce it, Craig?
It is Kristen Milioti, yes.
Okay, so the performance is amazing. Lead us through the story of Sophia and her relevance to the Long Halloween and the Penguin.
Well, Sofia Falcone, the only daughter of Carmine Falcone, the Roman, the leading crime boss in Boston, she's perfectly cast in this role, but hardcore comic book fans will say that she's totally miscast because who
Yeah, we're
had,
looking at a picture of her now. She looks like Brian Dennehy.
but she was physically intimidating in the Long Halloween, the graphic novel, but in the series of Penguin, she is emotionally intimidating just with those eyes that stare. The scene she had with her cousin when she went down and took to her look at her cousin's little girl and she just pulled her close. The fear that she instills. That's what makes this casting perfect. She's not physically imposing. She's not going to look like she does in Long Halloween that she can literally kick your ass. This Sophia Falcone, because she was hardened in Arkham Asylum. Uh, in the novel, she was framed. Um, she took the rap for Sal Maroni, and that's why she's in jail. In the Penguin, her father was the killer, but he framed his only daughter to take the rap. That's why she's in Arkham. And with the horse collar around her neck, that like we saw in the Batman, that the Riddler was wearing. So the consistency is the same. But she spent 7 years in Arkham, and coming out, she was convinced that she was the Hangman, and that's what makes her reputation so strong. And you can see as the episodes go on, she didn't like to be called the Hangman, but after this past episode that we saw, uh, she's really leaned into being a killer and
So
embracing that.
the Hangman is referred to as a serial killer, correct?
Correct. That we now know that it was her father who was strangling women from his club. One of the women that we saw in the Batman was killed was the Selena Kyle's mom, which we found out later in the Batman that she was daughter, the other daughter of Carmine Falcone. This isn't addressed in the Penguin series, and I don't think it will be. When Sophia was reading off the list of the women that Carmine had killed, he didn't mention Selena Kyle's mom, but we do know that he did kill all those women, and Sophia took the rap.
So let's address the umbrella in the room. Traditionalists are not happy that we veered so dramatically from this guy.
Well, the Penguin, the roots of the Penguin go all the way back to 1941, Detective Comics number 58. And we see the character when we first seen as a long, pointy nose, a squat individual who wore a tuxedo constantly, who resembled a penguin. So he was always a cartoonish type of oaf, but still a criminal mastermind because he was always underestimated and looked past and looked over, no pun intended. So as the Penguin has gone by over the last 83 years, we see different iterations. My favorite, of course, would be Batman Returns in 1992 with Danny DeVito, who was physically perfect as a Penguin, who's a short, squat individual. That goes to Robin Lord Taylor in Gotham from the Gotham series from 2014 to 2019. He played a more upper crust Penguin who was also pushed around but was tired of it and had all he could stand and can't stand no more. He had a different affectation. In fact, the actor Robin Lord Taylor stuck a nail in his left shoe to walk like the Penguin.
But his penguin, I thought, was a standout. And so you had the beginning of the riff on Penguin. Would he represent the first more real worldish riff on Penguin after the straight up comic book approach that we'd seen to that point?
Exactly. I think the Gotham series really took the cartoonish nature out of the Penguin because he was steeped in crime. There was a crime war going on in Gotham, and he wanted to get his piece. So that was the first time we saw a grittier Penguin that didn't like to be mocked, that didn't like to be laughed at, that wanted to be taken seriously, and wanted to be taken as someone to be feared. The same traits that we see in this iteration of the Penguin on Max. So I would say Gotham was the beginning of the no nonsense, non cartoony Penguin that we're getting now in Colin Farrell.
So, Steph, you got the floor now. Your take on the Penguin. I know you've seen a couple episodes, but right out of the gate, you're not a fan. Well, let it loose.
Well, first I want to say I appreciate all of the background from Long Halloween and all the tie-ins because obviously, we know I'm the noob and don't know any of that. So sticking close to the source material, I always appreciate a movie or a show. So having said that, I went to the first episode knowing that this was a super popular show. It was a big hit. So I was kind of excited to take a look at it. Got through the first one, was like, okay, let me get into the second episode. I made it like 3/4 of the way through, had to stop it for whatever reason. And I just was like, I have no interest in going back. Like immediately, no. I don't know if I can sit and watch that show anymore. I was pretty bored watching them. And now I don't know if I haven't given it enough time, and if I should keep going because maybe it'll kind of grow in me, especially now that I have all this background knowledge about how it's tying into source material. But I kind of felt like if I want to watch a realistic mob show, I will go back and rewatch The Sopranos for the fourth time because I've watched it 3 times already. Like if I want to watch that, I'll go back and watch The Boardwalk Empire for the third time. It was I think for me and just where I am in life right now, I don't need more realistic stuff. I need to be taken away from realism and my life right now. So I think that's what it was. It's just it's too much in reality for me. Now, I don't want to go all the way back to the 1940s Penguin where he kind of looks like one. It's like cartoony. I don't want to do that extreme. I'm so glad you brought up Gotham because that's exactly where I wanted to go with my opinion on this. Robin Lord Taylor was my favorite Penguin because I think, like you said, he started that transition from super cartoony with like crazy makeup and stuff to kind of where we are now with Colin Farrell's Penguin. So I thought he was, like you said, I loved how immediately he was mad if someone slighted him. Okay, I'm getting revenge on him. He would work with his allies just to stab them in the back to get what he wanted.
Is there a case to be made that you're kind of saying, okay, this is his character now, but it's really, we're just doing a regular Tony Soprano crime boss series, and we're gonna pay lip service to the Batman genealogy, but it's really not our main directive.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it. But maybe now if I can go back and finish up, catch up to where we're at with the show because I know how much it ties in, maybe it could help reframe how I think of the show. Because not having any of that, to me, it really was just like another crime drama, just with hearing comic book characters.
I was going to say that the fact that it got Steph so and out of place because it was so dark, I think that's a compliment to the series that it is that gritty and that low down that it would take you. Not that I wanted it to depress you further, Steph. Not with that at all. It's the result of a great series, and I think a lot of that goes to the show itself and the director who directed the first 3 episodes, Craig Zobel. Great first name. He directed Mayor of Easttown and Amber's favorite show, Westworld. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I'm not going to bother you about it. I'll just know that you're wrong. But if you decide to give another chance, given all the information we've given you today,
Yeah.
I hope you find some enjoyment in the story itself.
Well, listen, that is it for this episode. If you like what you saw, or even if you didn't, please hit the subscribe button and alert bell. You'll never miss an episode. Also, let us know what you think about The Penguin. And if you love it or hate it, please make a comment. A lot of people want the umbrella back. Maybe people are loving this new thing. Let us know how you feel. So until next time, we will see you next time. Take care, guys.